Historical and Architectural Review Board meeting for this afternoon, Wednesday, September 7th, 6 o'clock p.m. Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so our first order of new business is HARB 2016-12, 211 Lansdowne Avenue, which is a renovation of existing screened-in porch to 4-season room, and existing footprint should remain. So if you'd like to come up and tell us a little bit about the project.
It's working. So if you'll see on the existing photographs, it's a screened-in porch, sort of to the right side of the house, adjacent to the driveway, that the clients wanted to.
Do you have images that if you lay them on the table, they'll get picked up and shown there so everyone can see what we're talking about?
Okay.
Thank you.
The footprint's about 9 by 16, so it's a good-sized porch. And the clients just wanted to make it a 4-season room with heating, cooling, custom windows, custom trim work throughout, inside and out, and a black standing seam metal roof. They're also going to try and raise the roof. The client is super tall, and it's pretty low ceiling in there. And I think we can get about 16 extra inches while maintaining a 4/12 pitch. And we'll keep the hip roof shape. So the slope of the roof won't change. It'll just be a little bit higher. So we're looking at Is that blurry? Oh, there it is. Something like this, where we're talking about at the base, we'll extend the stone to match the rest of the base of the house. There'll be double hung windows. We broke down the scale of the top mullions a little bit, just because the scale of the sunroom is a little smaller. With clear transom above, they'll be white, and with recessed panel details below, sort of columns on the exterior. The whole exterior is white wood, as well as the inside. And then, as you can see on the top, it's a standing seam black metal roof.
So are you working within the current structure, or is that
No,
completely
it's all
coming out
coming
and
down.
all?
Mhm,
Okay.
And yeah. They're going to rebuild it sort of from right above that stone line up. Because it's not insulated, it's just like ugly screens right now.
I guess another question I have is on the front elevation, and maybe this looks better on the side, but on the front elevation, is the roof pitched towards the right, or is it flat?
So it's a hip roof. So I think, and we have yet to find a structural engineer to help me with the roof detail, but I think the hip will go from sort of here to here, and then it'll slope down in this direction and that direction.
Okay. And is that what it currently does? Or currently
That's what
it's
it currently does.
That's what it currently does, okay.
There's a similar structure like this, the house next to it, except it's a lot smaller.
Okay, for
So,
the
yeah,
porch.
Yeah, you're also look at that porch too, because that's visible from the street, just like this porch would be.
It might be on the other side, yeah. I'm looking at my photograph.
It's right next to the property, like when you're looking at the house
Mhm.
from the street, it's right on the right. The house
Okay.
on the right side. But it's much smaller than the porch that you had, but it looks like the structure, as far as the roof, et cetera, is all the same.
Okay.
I guess the other question I have is there any changes being made to the facade of the building as it stands?
The actual house?
Yeah.
No, none.
So this isn't so high that's running into any of
Oh,
those
no,
windows or
no, no.
anything? Okay.
We'll take the high point of the roof. It'll be probably about 5 inches below. There's an existing window there, so it won't hit it at all.
Very quick question for you. On the rest of the house, I believe that it has the upper sash divided in two.
Yeah.
This is in quadrants in four.
Yeah, you know what? I felt like this could sort of stand on its own. It's a smaller scale, sort of attached to the rest of the house, so just to bring the scale down a little more. These windows are smaller than the windows that just have the divided pane, so I think the proportions looked a little nicer, a little smaller. These windows, with just, you know, your typical grid mullion, I don't know if they replaced or they're, I don't think they were existing to the house, but the front door and the back door have this grid pattern.
And this will just be on the upper sash, or it won't be on the lower?
Yeah, right, the lower one's plain, just clear.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it was, does 1926 sound right? It's either.
Yeah, it could even be earlier. Looks like it's a transitional house when they just looking out at Victorian where asymmetry was big, but all of a sudden 1900s. I mean, they were just, it's kind of a mix of windows. They used to call asymmetrical translation, architectural work. This is basically irrelevant to the conversation, it's just education. But was the porch part of the original house?
I don't know.
Or was it an addition? It looks like it might have been a later addition.
I think it may have been. There's, well, they're not sliders. There's 2 French doors leading into the kitchen that you'll see on the plan. And I know the kitchen was renovated. It was not original.
Mm-hmm.
And an addition was since put on out back. I think prior to the current owner having it. It's been added on a bit.
I would think that that's about right, because the house right next to it has a porch that's existing, that's very similar to this porch, but it's a lot smaller. And that's right on the right. I didn't see any other porches like that directly on that street, except for the neighbor
Okay.
there.
I wonder if this was sort of maybe the first addition, and this was sort of their mudroom back door, and then before the current owners bought it, or just when they were buying it, they added on sort of a mudroom and the whole garage to it. So I wonder if this was first. I'm not sure.
Another question. It's hard to tell from your elevation, but where, I know you said you're raising the foundation as well.
Oh,
Is-
not the foundation.
Not the foundation, okay.
Mm-mm.
So the current line of the foundation and this line are all going to be the same? Okay.
Right, because there's a threshold to get into to those double doors, which lead into their kitchen.
Okay.
So we'll keep that.
Okay. Do we have any comments from
And
the public?
the patio
Sorry.
there remains?
Patio remains.
Okay.
Do we have anything, any public participation any comments on this project here? Okay.
I'd like to make a motion for a certificate of appropriateness as is.
All those in favor of awarding the, what?
I'll second that.
So now all of those in favor of awarding the certificate of appropriateness as is, say aye.
Aye.
So, okay, so all 5 of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so second on our agenda tonight is HARB 2016-13, which is 408 Midland Avenue. This is a renovation in addition to the rear of the house. Go ahead and let us know what you're looking to do.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Philip Ivory. I'm the architect for this project. What we're looking to do, actually, we want to do renovations to the house to update the interior living spaces, with the focus on the back of the house will be an addition that impacts the kitchen. We want to create a new mudroom, and we want to get a new powder room in there as well. In trying to describe it a little better, so the updating of the kitchen is intended to better accommodate basically the daily use and preparation for a family of 5, and entertaining as well. And the mudroom, a mudroom does not exist at this point in time. The original addition on the back of this house, I shouldn't say addition, the original footprint actually had a porch entry with an outdoor kitchen that was part of it when it was originally done. This had gone through renovations previously, and that porch no longer exists. And now those spaces have been turned into a breakfast room and powder room, and there's still a small kitchen in there. So we're looking to.
So we don't need to know anything about the interior plans, and actually we're not even supposed to remark upon them. So it doesn't matter what the room is on the inside. What we care about is what it looks like from the outside, and whether you're
Okay.
even going to see it. You said this is a rear addition.
It is a rear addition, and you can see it from the road, but the majority of it you will not be seeing from the road. Would it be helpful to be looking at the exterior elevations? Is that what you'd like to see? Okay. So what we are showing is an expanded footprint of that existing section all the way on the back that includes a porch entry from the driveway side, and the kitchen addition has been expanded to come off the line of the existing house on this side. So we've expanded it out about 4 feet or so on that side. Yeah, it expands out actually 5.5 feet. And then on the back end of the house, we actually have extended it another 4 feet. And on the driveway side is extending over 6 feet. And what that gives us is the space for the additional mudroom with a powder room in it and porch entry off of the back. And then the kitchen expanding as well.
Could you orient us
Yeah.
to back to the map where you could just point out the portions that would be visible from the street?
I would say this portion is visible from the street coming in at that angle.
Okay.
We're set back fairly far from the road with
Yeah.
this particular property. And we're actually building it out to a setback line that's existing as well.
So the piece, I know you have a lot of information in here, but the piece that you're going to see is what we are concerned about,
Okay.
or not, what we're interested in learning
Sure.
about, not that we're concerned about it. Can you talk a little bit about how you're going to use certain design features of the current house or the current community to make sure that it fits within the
Sure.
kind of,
So the piece that is most obvious from the street is this portion of the addition. And what we were proposing for this, the majority of the back of the house is stone up to the level of the first floor, and then it is shingle. And what we've chosen to do for the majority of that addition is shingle. When we get around to this particular piece, which is the piece that you're going to see more or less from the street, we were suggesting potentially using, making reference to the front elevation, which has, let's see, a stucco and boards on the front of it. Almost like Tudor, not quite, but it's a stucco and board elevation on one side of it. Let me see here if I can show you something here. Okay. this is a rendering that was done by Will Price when the houses were originally designed. And there's this treatment that has stucco infill with almost like a treated board defining it. We thought it might be nice to actually work with that same kind of approach for the addition that you can see from the street. The real reason behind that is we didn't want the whole addition, looking at it from the back, to be sort of overwhelmingly the same thing. The other things that have been talked about that potentially would be doing something similar with panels, wood panels, as opposed to boards with stucco infill. The other thing that we're doing is, for the porch area itself, we're taking treatments off the existing house. There are brackets that are happening at the eave line, and there are we're showing brackets at the posts that are being introduced at the porch as well. These are elements that are consistent on the house, but they're also consistent in the neighborhood. You can kind of walk around and see that Will Price had a palette that he was using on different houses. So those are what we're using for our references. As far as the windows are concerned, what we're proposing to use is a simulated divided light window. In the packet, I think I'm showing an Anderson window. We would have an integrated color on the outside and the divisions as we're showing them. The other thing that we're looking to introduce on this is half-round gutters as well. So, and at the porch area, we're indicating that it would be a latticed space underneath. So the foundation doesn't go underneath the porch, but rather there's a lattice at the area that is that defines the porch itself.
On page A2,
Mm-hmm.
it looks like there's some photos of the property.
Correct.
Are any, which one, if any of these, are the view you see from the street itself?
Actually, I do not show a view from the street on this. Let's see if it's on a different page. No, I don't have that, sorry. You know, looking at that second photograph on that particular page, you can see, you get a sense of how far back it is even from the driveway side. So it's not a very strong view from the street, but it can be seen.
I would agree with that when I saw this property. It seems like everything that you want to accomplish is really not visible from the street. I looked at a couple of different angles, and I didn't see a whole lot, if anything.
Do we have any other comments from the board or public comments?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, all those in favor of recommending a certificate of appropriateness as is for this project, please say aye. 1, 2, 3, 4. All in approval. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda is HARB 2016-14, which is 211 Poplar Avenue. Looks like we are removing an existing one-story shed structure and adding an addition as well. So please fill us in on the details. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Colin Whalen. I'm the property owner. And my wife's in the audience as well. Bear with me while I get my bearings. Is that how you want to see it, or?
Keep going
Like that? Sorry. So, the property was built in 1905, 1906. The purpose of the renovation will be a two-story addition off the rear of the property. None of the improvements that we're detailing will be visible from the street. First off, I want to say that my architect is Cam Lacey, DCL Architects. He was on the board for 10 years, serving as the chairman for 5. I'm obviously paying him way too much money because he's currently sailing down the Rhone River in France, so that's why I'm here. So bear with me as I go through this.
We feel for you.
If you have a copy of the site plan, there are some series of numbers throughout it that reference pictures. And so, for example, on the north elevation, you'll see P1, which focuses on the front porch, showing the existing gambrel roof. But like I said, nothing on the front will be done. That is the rear of the property, which shows an existing mudroom, which we plan to demolish. One, it's really not usable space. 2, it's not on the same elevation of the first floor, so you have to step down to get to it, and it's quite a tripping hazard actually for our 2 daughters who are both 6 and 1, so we've had a couple accidents already. So our plan is with the addition is to create a level surface from the existing kitchen out to the back. You said you didn't want to hear anything about the inside, so I'll stop saying that. This is the driveway side of the house where we plan to kind of create, so that's the side of the, what I'll call the east side of the house, and that's actually considered the main entrance of the house back when it was built. The front steps that you saw in the first picture were actually at it, and there wasn't actually that walkway from the driveway. That side entrance was actually the front entrance to get to the front door. So what our plan is we're creating a side entrance on the driveway, which will mimic that arch on the side elevation, which you can see on the new elevations that we presented. So in speaking with the second-story addition in the rear, it will be a 2-story addition with a what does he call it? It's not a gambrel roof, but it's a yes. So we want to highlight the existing roof line on the 3rd floor and show the scale of the existing house compared to the new rear addition. You can also see the triple window on the center of the 2nd floor. We plan to reuse that window in our master bedroom addition, which will be on top of the kitchen addition. So the intent is to salvage that window and reuse it on the rear of the house to try to mirror the same look, because it's quite a nice window. Tell me how I'm doing.
So far, so good.
So, seen enough pictures? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me highlight the neighbors' pictures. So, the 2 on the top are the 2 houses across the street. The one at the bottom is directly across the street, and they definitely did not go in front of your board, because that's quite an eyesore for the entire neighborhood. But I don't think your board existed when that was built. These are the 2 houses on either side of our property, and you can see they're so closely spaced together that you really do not see the rear of the property of where we're intending to add on. We're also staying below the 500 square foot stormwater management limit, which we're only adding about 350 square feet. So the footprint is growing, but we're staying underneath that stormwater requirement, because the existing mudroom, the calculations are included in that. So that's the pictures. And I'll go into I'll start with the rear. This is the new, and this is the demo. So we're showing the demo of the existing mudroom, the two windows, the one above the mudroom, the one to the left, which is a kitchen window, and the third floor, which is a small bedroom. Like I said previously, the triple window is scheduled to be reused. But in the new elevation, you can see we're adding, he shows the new, the reused triple window in the rear, and then a triple single casement off the back. And material-wise, we're matching the foundation stone of the existing house, and we're going to use a hardy-type product for the siding to match the existing siding. We're not planning on painting the house. The siding will be primed, and we're going to match the existing siding color. Trim boards will be like an AZAC trim board around all the windows. And then there'd be a small deck off the side kitchen addition where that person is standing on the bottom. This is the proposed, driveway side with the new side entrance, which shows the new archway that mimics the other archway of the existing front entrance.
Will you see this from the road?
No.
No, so pretty much.
You really don't see it from the road.
Okay.
I mean, the houses are so close together, you just don't see it.
So you're doing a phenomenal job, but because we don't see most of this from the road, I don't see why we would have to delve much further.
Okay.
If anybody has any comments or any comments from the public.
Yeah, I would like to concur with that. I saw this property too, and nothing is really visible from the street.
Yeah.
Or even from an angle on another
And even
street.
if you drive down, I can't even think of the back road behind us. It's so overgrown, you don't even see the properties on Poplar from the rear actually either, so. Yeah. In the dead of fall, yeah. Well, rumor has it that's coming down, but I don't know if it's been in front of you guys yet. Any other questions?
I'd like to make a motion for certificate appropriateness. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, so all in favor of awarding or recommending a certificate of appropriateness for this project, 211 Poplar Avenue as is, please say aye. Raise your hand. All right, all five are in favor of this one. Thank you very
Board.
much.
I will deduct your time from the architects. You did a fine job.
Thank you.
Nice design.
Thanks.
Good luck setting that window.
Say again?
Good luck setting that window.
Yeah, I know. The intent's there, trust me. It's a great window. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, you too. So last on our list of new business is HARB 2016-15, which is 414 Radnor Street Road, which has come before the board before, so.
And before that, too. Hello again. Hi. Now what are they up to?
Well, so we went back to the original first design as far as the roof line goes.
For the garage, we're just discussing
Uh,
the garage.
Okay, so.
I mean, are we discussing more than the garage?
It's both. It's,
okay.
so the main house went back to doing the roof line like this, as opposed to the gable was turned 90 degrees on the last HARB 2. But in HARB 1, it was like this, so it's back to that. Otherwise, no changes to the screen porch or anything like that. The big change is the garage. They would like to add a little cupola and a little pent roof over the garage doors themselves. So the addition on the main house is still the same size and configuration. It's still very difficult to see it from the street because of the trees and the setback, and it steps back in from the original house. But this facade of the garage is pretty, is very exposed to the street. So they wanted to dress it up and just add a little bit of character to it. The siding is going to stay the board and batten that we had before. I think it's still a great improvement from what's there right now, which is right here. It's just one massive door and one very flat elevation. So I think adding the pent roof gives it a little bit more interest. And again, breaking the doors into two separate doors as opposed to one gigantic long door better fits the proportions of the existing house.
So
You're going to add that, the ventilator?
Yes.
You're going to add
That's
that? That's
new.
an addition? Okay.
Yes. Otherwise, the windows stay the same, except we're adding this little window where there was a vent before.
So really all we're talking about is that window and
The roof.
the cupola?
Yeah, and the little pent roof here above the
Oh,
doors.
okay, I see.
Do you have any examples from the neighborhood of elements that you perhaps have pulled from?
I didn't pull the cupola from any existing structures around. The neighbors aren't, across the street, the neighbors don't really have any historic features. I'm not sure if the adjacent neighbors have a cupola. I haven't seen one around.
To your knowledge, is there anything like this in the neighborhood?
I'm not sure, actually.
Okay.
I've not cruised around to look for one. I know it's not atypical for this period of house to have a carriage house that has a cupola on it.
I would agree with that. Where I've seen them were on converted stables. That's why I called it a ventilator. That's what it was used for.
Right, exactly.
Horse stew.
Yep. I had one on my carriage house.
How does the board feel about that cupola in general? Any thoughts?
Well, since it's clearly a 20th century garage, it's almost a frill. I think that the house front is a little more staid than a cupola. I think they're doing a beautiful job with the rest of the addition, but there's really nothing in your design that suggests a cupola would be anything other than a oddity.
Oh, right, I think it's meant to be decorative. It's not obviously going to be super functional. It's an unconditioned garage. So it was really just to dress it up a little bit.
I'm also interested in the little roof. Is there any detail in that mimics the main house, or is that just a little bracket that you came up with to go with the?
Well, the front porch has a small roof on it. It's not quite the same. It has the arch on it and pillars, but we didn't want to post down at the garage in case you're trying to maneuver cars out. So we went with the brackets instead.
And it's just decorative, there's no rain protection or any other function for it?
I mean, there is a little bit to protect the doors, but because otherwise it's, you know, a completely flat front.
Do we have in here what we approved prior?
Do I have those drawings?
Yeah.
I don't have them with me.
Okay.
Sorry. I mean, as far as the garage goes, it was really just without the cupola and without the roof there, the pen roof.
I'm feeling, and we can discuss this more, but I'm feeling like it doesn't flow with the main house.
Okay.
I don't know that I can choose better words than that, so maybe some people with some better vocabularies could help fill me in.
Yeah, I'll make a comment on it. And this is, Bob, getting back to your question about, you know, how is everybody feeling? I have no issue with the, you know, the small roof line. I think from an architectural detail, it's fine. The rest of the roof in the front is gabled. Like, you know, it seems to be in keeping with the rest of the architecture. The cupola is somewhat incongruous to the time period. And, you know, my feeling about it is it's a design element that's non-functional, you know.
I agree.
I would like to comment that I think the style of the door and the texture of the batten board adds plenty of visual interest, especially with the new window.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps the cupola is kind of extraneous.
Okay.
I agree with that. I also feel like the added roof line, if that mimicked something on the main house, I would feel more comfortable with it.
Oh, the roof across the top of the door?
Yeah, I just feel like that's a little too decorative as well for not the right time period, so.
I'd like to make a motion for certificate of appropriateness with conditions, the removal of the cupola, rest as designed.
Okay.
I second.
All right, so all those in favor of recommending a certificate of appropriateness with the condition that the cupola is not included in the design,
Okay.
please indicate, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
So we have 4. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
But that's enough.
I'll talk to the owners about it.
So-
Let them know.
So that works. We have
Okay.
4. Thank you very
And
much.
then the rest of the house, fine? The
Yeah, if there's
addition,
no
I mean,
other
you can't really
changes, it's
see
already
that.
approved, so we don't even need to go there.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. All right, any old business? Nobody here, so I'm really just talking to myself. No public unless you have anything else to say. So at this point, I am going to ask permission to adjourn.
So moved.
Do we need to second that?
Sure, make it second.
Second is made?
Second.
All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.